Hey folks, Del here, and I'm going to be showing you now how to do the star stitch. So this is something I'm working on, and this is the star stitch. You can see it's rows of little star shapes. Now the original pattern for the star stitch had you working one row of the star stitch across, and then breaking off your yarn there, going back to the start, attaching your yarn again there and working another row across, so you're always working in the same direction. That was really tedious, so the pattern I'm following, I've put the link in the video description, has you working one row of the stars across, and then without breaking off you make a turning chain and turn, and then you work another row of single crochet going back. So you can work in a continuous line. And if I show you down the bottom here, so this blue one is the star stitch, and then this brown one just on top is the row of single crochet, but when you work them together they form the one solid star shape. I'd let you do it without breaking off the yarn. Now it forms a really stiff fabric, really tight stiff fabric without much drape in it. It doesn't drape very nicely. Because it's so stiff, it's good for things like bags and little pots if you want to crochet pots, anything that needs a stiff fabric. So this stitch is a bit of a finicky one. It needs you to do some complicated fiddling with your crochet hook to get the stitches in the right places. So I've started with a slip knot and I've chained 11, and I've made them quite loose chains. You'll want them to be loose because you'll need to force your hook through into some awkward angles. And so it's 10 and 1 turning chain. So we're going to ignore the first chain there and start in the second chain from the hook, and we're going to pull up 5 loops in the next 5 chains. So we're going to pull up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now with the turning chain we've got 6 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 of those, straight through all 6. Now you've got this fat sausage caterpillar shape underneath your hook there. Now you're going to yarn over and chain 1, and this finishes off the star and makes the eye of the star, that little hole you can see in the middle there. So now we're back to the start with 1 loop on the hook. So now we're going to pick up 5 loops again. We're going to go 1 through the eye of the star. It's going to be a bit tight, so just wiggle your needle through there. And the next one is going to be in the front loop of the last loop you pulled up. And you need to force the hook through because it's quite fiddly, especially when you're working from the foundation chain, because this loop is really big and loose. So we're going to poke the hook through there, go on, get in the yarn over, pull a loop through. So now we've got 3. Now we're going to go through this, hello cat, through this last loop that the last stitch was made in. Pull up a loop, so that's 4. Now we're going to do 1 into each of the next 2 foundation chains. 5, 6 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 6. So that's the repeat you're going to be doing, and then you just chain 1 to finish off the star and make the eye. So you do this all the way across your end of your row. So we're going to pick up 1 loop from the eye, 1 loop from the front of this stitch. The pattern I'm following actually asks you to go through the back loop, but I find that even more difficult, so I'm just going through the front, and it doesn't seem to make much of a difference to the pattern. It's actually, to my eye, it doesn't make any difference to the pattern. So we pull through that front one, and then through the same stitch the last one was made in, and then through the next chain 2 spaces. 1, 2. So we have 6 loops on the hook, and yarn over and pull through all 6. And we've, at the end of our row now, there's just 1 left, so we're going to chain 1, close that star, and then we're going to do a half double crochet or half treble, depending whether you're using UK or US, into that last stitch there. So we yarn over and pull through, and yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook there, and then just tug on your tail end to close that up. So that's your first row of stars. You've got 1, 2, 3 stars, and then you've got the HDC at the end there. So we're going to chain 1 for the turning chain, and this is going to be a row of single crochet, or double crochet if you're going by UK terms. So we're going to skip this first chain, and we're going to do a single crochet into the next one here, And we're going to do 1 single crochet into the eye of the first star. And then we're going to do 2 single crochet into all remaining star eyes across the row. So we only got 2 left, so you're going to do 2 single crochets into the eye of this star. And 2, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into the eye of the last star. It's a bit difficult to see there, it's quite tight. You go 1, 2, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet into the top of our turning chain. So if I turn the fabric over, you can see it's this loose one right at the top. So put your hook through both of those loops and do a single crochet there. So that's the end of that row. Now we're going to chain 2. And you need to keep these, especially this first chain of your chain 2, keep it really loose. So we're going to chain 1 and then chain 2. Now this is why we kept it loose. Starting the row, you've got 1 loop on your hook there, you need to pick up another 5. So we're going to first go through the second chain from the hook, through the front loop and then the back loop. So we go through the front loop, and you're going to need to push the loop onto your hook there, yarn over and pull through a loop. Now we're going to go through the back loop of the same chain, and this is where it gets complicated. So it's actually this one just behind here. You can hook this one out of the way, turn your yarn all the way around. Just go through the back there, pull up a loop, so that's 3. And then we're going to go through the next 3 stitches, pulling up a loop. So the next 3 single crochet, that's 1, 2, 3. So now we've got 6 loops on the hook. So you yarn over, pull through all 6, and that's your first star made. Chain 1 to make the eye of the star, and then it's the same as the first row. We pull up 1 loop in the eye, and then we pull up 1 loop in the front of this last star stitch, and then we pull up 1 loop into the single crochet stitch that was made in, and then 1 in each of the next 2 single crochet stitches there. We've got 6 loops on the hook, and then we yarn over, pull through all 6. That's the second star made. So we chain 1 to close it off, and then the pattern again, 1 through the eye, 1 through the front loop there, 1 through the last stitch, 1 through the next 2 single crochet stitches, which should bring you to the end of this row. Make sure you're going through both of the stitches there, both loops rather, and pull through. So we've got 6, yarn over, pull through, chain 1 to close it off, and then we do the HTR again into the top of the chain of the last HTR, or the turning chain, like that. So now you've got a neat edge this side, and what will be a neat edge this side. The first corner is always a bit round, but after that it does get straight up there. So that's a tiny little row of star stitches. So it's a fiddly stitch to be sure, but it looks really pretty, and it's good fabric for making any dense material like bags and pots and stuff. So that's the star stitch, and check the video description for the link to the pattern I'm using, because you may find it a bit easier to follow the pattern as well as watching what I'm doing, just to see where to place your hook. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see me explain any stitch, then just leave a comment and I'll do my best. Thanks, bye!